Halo, Episode 6, Solace. How do you do, G-Pot crew? It's your Naughty Body Potty here, and today we're doing the review and full breakdown of Halo Episode 6, Solace. Now, as usual, this is going to be a full breakdown of any Easter eggs or connections to the lore that I will bring to you either from the books or from the video game. Now, keep in mind also that this will be spoilerly, no spoiler freeze, and I will do my final thoughts and my review at the end of the episode. And of course, we left the last episode with some big reveals from some characters in the video game that we were I would say, was so excited to see. But I'm hoping there's going to be more today, because I think we have 2 more episodes after this, so we're almost at a conclusion, unless it's 10 episodes, but I'm pretty sure it's 8. With that being said, let's get down to the first breakdown. Now, as we go through the series, I do want to acknowledge that as we bring in new characters or items from the game, I won't have to re-acknowledge those items as a whole when it comes to weapons, vehicles, much like you see, of course, with the Warthog, as you see here, and of course that you see back here. But I can give some sort of perspective on the size of the creatures from everyone else. And what I mean by that is this. In the video game, Master Chief is pretty tall. And he's still tall in the show. What they've basically done is gotten a lot more shorter people to compare to his size to make him look taller. Well, the reason I state this is because the first game to really give us a scope or perspective of how big some of these creatures are would be a game called Halo 3 ODST. In it, you played a Marine. You didn't play actual Spartan. You played a Marine. And in it, you didn't have, you had to heal. There was a lot more things you had to do. So fighting an elite was like a boss battle, while in the regular Halo games, it was just a regular enemy. And grunts were just, minuscule. Now understand, grunts are still small compared to the Marines, but they're at least a little bit bigger in scope as far as how it would be the Master Chief. Master Chief, these things are small. They're basically like little kids to them. To Marines, they just look like short people, basically. So, for example, in this picture you see right here, you can kind of get a scope of their size when they're almost the same size as you see. They're maybe a little bit smaller, maybe like a couple of inches or a foot smaller, but they're still very, very, menacing, I guess you could say. But they would be the regular enemies that would be the elites for the Spartans. So the reason I bring this up is this is how do I explain it? This is a perspective on how the Spartans are huge compared to the Marines, which are, even at normal size, 6 feet, 5 feet, so on and so forth, they're still minuscule compared to the Covenant that they're fighting. And that's the reason why in this, I feel like what they've done in the show is they've cast a lot of shorter people to play the Marines, to give it a bigger aspect. And then, Spartans might be 6, 7 feet tall, but to the comparison of using shorter people makes it look like they're massive. So that still would apply in the real world if they were able to do the height they could with Spartans, which would be about 8 feet tall, things of that nature, on a normal basis. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. Well, isn't it ironic that I just talked about ODST or ODST Marines, and one of them gets brought up right here, Roman Quinn. Now, Roman Quinn was a shock trooper that appeared in the Halo Wars 2 video game, a shock trooper, aka an ODST shock trooper, aka a Marine. And she had a pivotal role in understanding how the Forerunners work and so on and so forth. And she even went into, I think, cryogenic stasis, and then was later, 20 years or several years later, I think it was 20 years later, was thought out to find herself in the middle of space. So, first and foremost, I bring this up because it's funny how I brought up the ODST Marines earlier, about the game, which she didn't appear in that game, by the way. But I did want to state that it's funny that they're now bringing up her in this show, and her pivotal role in being part of the early success of Marines and knowledge of the phone runners and so on and so forth. So, again, just one of those things where maybe they're always foreshadowing my thoughts. I don't know. This episode hasn't really had anything I can add as far as an Easter egg. But that's okay, because seeing this is unbelievable. Understand? The lore has changed a lot. This whole connection to the Keystone, all that. But seeing them on the Halo ring. Now, I was like, let me go look up a picture. But then it dawned on me, oh yeah. Literally right over here. Right there is the Halo ring. I had to make sure to have it in my overlays. You're literally seeing it with the text Halo to the left of me. That is the Halo ring. And that is what they're standing on in this image here. They're on Halo. What does this mean? I don't know. She's a new character that is now connected to Master Chief, and that's a big deal. A big deal. How is this going to shape the series? And how is this episode going to end? Right here? Between them two? You know what? Let's get into my final thoughts. Now, for my final thoughts and how I feel about this episode ending the way it did. We all know she works for the Covenant. We all know that she knows more than John knows. Maybe it's like a situation where they're both powerful, but he needs to be dead for her to be more powerful. And in order for her to do that, she must gain his trust. Or maybe there's something else. This is going to go deep into some crazy lore, I'm sure. That has nothing to do with the actual lore. I am liking the change. It's something different. It gives him a deeper connection to Halo, even though that's not the case when it comes to the actual show. But I'm still kind of enjoying the change. But I know that a lot of Halo purists are probably upset still. And I really would love to know their opinions. But unfortunately, don't get too many of them watching this video. So maybe down the road when the series is, on its regular and popular, and they look up my video, maybe you can finally tell me in the comments how you feel. But that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I think we have 2 more episodes, and then it's the end of the Halo series, or at least Season 1 of the Halo series. We might have even 4 more episodes. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. I will see you next Thursday for Halo Episode 7. And as always, I'm Putty with the G-Pod crew. And you know what we do, a Halo review. Peace.